I think what's really interesting coming out of COVID and the pandemic in terms of key trends is a sort of multitude of different aspects and pathways, whereby, for example, when we first went into COVID and there was a lot of talk and anxiety about, are students going to return to their student blocks? Is there going to be a long-term online experience that's going to be offered in lieu of the in-campus opportunity? And I think what this pandemic has really proven is that actually the in-person education is so integral to the student experience, and certainly a way that students want to actually be there. So I think from our session where we talk about, the reimagining of student accommodation and, various different design aspects and how student has adapted to the new way of doing things post-pandemic. We personally feel that student accommodation has become, in a greater way, a second campus, where students are not only living, but working. So it's a live-work type of attitude. Whereas I think before there was an attitude in some student blocks that maybe were a bit more basic, that, you were just staying there and you were living in the city, or you may be living at university and not spending that much time. So I think everyone just needs to be a bit more cognizant that the student accommodation needs to be so much more appropriate and more conducive to mental health, sustainability, but also working in that sort of environment, especially when we're seeing much more blended learning between online and offline. So I think, for us, it's all about that differentiation, isn't it, between what everyone was doing before and what we're doing now, and looking at ways that designers and architects and funds can really optimize the student experience in a greater way, and maybe capture that via more events, greater social areas, greater co-working spaces, and more opportunities to interact. Because I think obviously COVID has taken some of the social life out of universities, whereas it would be nice to introduce that back into the student blocks. I think what's so important about this year's Student Accommodation Conference and Awards ceremony, more than really anything else in the past, is an ability to sort of take stock as to what's happened and adapt, post-pandemic, to how students are reacting, how investors should react, how we really need to change the way that we're thinking. And the group experience and education you get from the conference is so intrinsic to how I think the sector will evolve further. And I think it's our perspective that student well-being, sustainability, and an ability to really pivot into some of the lessons that we've learned during the pandemic is what will come out of the conference. So we're really excited about going and being part of it.